In this video, we're going to look at atmospheric perspective. What it is, pretty much, there's always fog in the sky. Even if we can't see it, it's always there. There's always some particles floating around in the sky. Now, it's much more noticeable when those particles are much more dense and kind of closer to us. We see many more of them. We notice that as like a foggy day. Well, in reality, there's always some things floating around in the sky. And what that does is, if we're looking at something very far away, that's what causes that thing, even on a clear day, to kind of look almost like we're looking through fog, because we really truly are looking through particles. We can use this in our projects to help make things look further away. So the more of this like fog that we put in there, further away things are going to look. Again, there's a list there. That's what kind of causes these little particles, but they're up there, they're always floating around us, and that's what causes this effect. So as far as creating this effect goes, there's really three things that you do. The things that are closer to us have more detail. The things that are closer to us also have more intense coloring. The further away we get, again, we lost some detail further away we get. Part of that's just because our eyes can only see so far. But part of that is also as that fog kind of becomes thicker and thicker the further away we go, as we're looking through more of that, we lose those details. We also lose color, meaning that it becomes more dull, it becomes more gray the further away we get. And finally, we also lose contrast the further away we get. So if we look back here, at the back of this picture that I have on my screen, you can see there's some snow on that mountain, and it's against a very dark colored mountain. But in reality, what we're really seeing is just two shades of gray that are like hardly even different than each other. Because it's so far away, we lost all that contrast. So that's kind of how that works in reality. So again, it's three things. We lose detail the further away we get. Color, again, becomes more gray. And we also lose contrast the further away we get. So with each level of this picture that we're further away, you see we're losing more and more of that. So that's how we know those mountains are further and further away. Real life examples of this, again, I'll have this PowerPoint available to you, but you can kind of see it here. And again, this person who kind of made up these photos isolated some of the colors in the image, and you can really kind of see how the color is very intense in the beginning. It's very green in some of these, and then as you get further and further away, it just kind of becomes more and more gray, and you can see that loss of details. And again, these are just real images, haven't been altered at all. That's just how this looks in reality. As far as artwork goes, you can see how artists have kind of done this over time to kind of create this effect, and again, it really does look like these mountains are much further away because it matches what we experience in real life. You can also exaggerate this on objects that we know are kind of like probably closer to us, but it helps kind of enhance this effect. You know, the more you decrease the color, detail, and kind of lose contrast, the more these things are going to look further away. So again, on the ones that look like dice and these circles, we also know they're a little further away because they're smaller, but this effect certainly helps. It doesn't just look like a smaller circle or block here. It looks like it's further away because of this increased effect here. So we can kind of exaggerate it like that if we are trying to kind of do something artistically to add depth to a project. So that's how atmospheric perspective works.